Mayor, your mics are hot. Mics are on.
Everybody? I'll speak at once. Well, you can skip up the sir. Welcome to the Beach Mountain Town Council meeting for January. If you're going to get up and speak, remember you've got 5 minutes. After that, we turn off the mics, we send you home. But you got 5 minutes and it seems like we only have 2 people out of 6 that want to talk, so that's very good. And
I take an affront to that, by the way. It's one of the people go to speak, by the way.
well, I mean, we're only about 8 people here, period. Also, please mute your telephones, cell phones, house phones, so that we don't get disturbed while we're conducting this meeting. We certainly appreciate it. Need a motion to call to order?
Make a motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any motion to adopt the agenda?
Make a motion.
Everybody in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Mr. Cyclone?
Thanks, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy New Year. Our scripture verse today is from Hebrews. For he has said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. New Year's, as you all know, it's time that we kind of throw out the old, bring in the new. A lot of times we try to do away with what we had done the year before that doesn't work out too well. Then we have our New Year's resolutions that takes care of that. I read an article that said New Year's resolutions average was 5 days is all they last. So probably most of you by now, if you made any resolutions, they're long gone now. I guess probably we do know one group of people that's still happy though for New Year's is the Georgia Bulldogs there. So I'm sure they're happy. I came across an article that I thought was quite appropriate for New Year's. And we kind of tend to begin a new life with New Year's. And this is called The Train of Life. Some of you may have read this. It kind of takes us through birth, all of our life, and then to the end of it as compared to a train ride. It says, we boarded the train and we meet our parents. And we believe that they will always be by our side. As time goes by, other people will board the train, and they will be significant, such as our siblings, our friends, our children, and even the love of our life. However, at some station, our parents will step down from the train, leaving us on this journey alone. Others will step down over time and leave a permanent vacuum. Some, however, will go unnoticed, that we don't realize that they vacated their seats. The train ride will be full of joy, sorrow, fantasy, expectations, hellos, goodbyes, and farewells. Success consists of having a good relationship with all the passengers, requiring that we give the best of ourselves. The mystery to everyone is, we do not know at which station we ourselves will step down. So we must live in the best way, love, forgive, and offer the best of who we are. It is important to do this because when the time comes for us to step down and leave our seat empty, we should leave behind beautiful memories of those who will continue to travel on the train of life. I wish you all a joyful journey. Would you bow your heads, please? Lord, we ask that you be with our friend Fred. Ask that he'll soon be able to return to the mountain that he loves and the mountain that loves him. Pray that you bless our President Joe, our Governor Roy, our Mayor Barry, our town council manager Bob, our town council. We ask you to bless our military, our law enforcement, our firefighters, our EMTs, and all who protect us. And we ask you to continue to bless the United States of America and Beech Mountain. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.
Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, public comments. I have Nick Wilson. You got 1 minute.
You already used 30 seconds.
You're up.
My parents tried to teach me to respect members of my family. That include wives, father-in-laws, etc. He also said to try to respect my elders, and that's why I'm glad to speak to you all today.
The Wagner, right?
Including Widener. I see we changed the flag. I don't know the results of my comments a month or so ago from the blue and white contrast, but now we put up a North Carolina flag. But I don't know what happened to the other one.
On order,
On order? Which one, white or blue?
it's the one you wanted.
No, I let that up to be up to you guys, by the way. So I didn't mean to speak to that way. Two things that I would like to have you do. I attend a great number of the functions around Beech Mountain. I'd like to do that to support the people that are here, the functions that they do, and so on. But one of the things that we don't see is the town council members attending these functions. And it would be really good for you not only to attend these functions, but as I mentioned a month ago or so, to go to each one of these departments and to get a real feel for the jobs that they do here. And they do a wonderful job for all of us up here. Not just the police department, the utility department, but the water and sewer, Buckeye, and so on. But to go and meet these people and see what they think and what they would like to have better done in their businesses. I also know that we have this great influx of funds that are coming into the town because of the millage rate and tax increases that have come. And I know that we're looking, and I hope we'd like to get an update about that somehow, about what is happening to the results of discussions about what to do with this money. I know you can't do anything about the taxes that have been done, but I know there's been some discussion about the millage rate and reducing those. I'd also like to propose that the hardship that these taxes have had on many of our people might be looked at in another way. In other words, maybe a 6 months rebate of the water bill that comes in. Say 6 months of $50 each to each family that's up here, to try to give them a little bit of a break about what goes on. If it's $50 to Nick Wilson or $50 to Widener Abernathy, I don't think that means too much to anybody with all the tax monies that we've gotten in. And I hope we can do something with that. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
$50 is a lot of money. It's a half a tank of gas.
But it's not very much when you consider that.
I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to say anything.
You're not
I'm
supposed to
sorry.
respond. Nick Michael? Give your name and address, please.
Carrie McMichael, 710 Pine Ridge Road. I just have two things I wanted to bring to your attention. I'm sure that you're aware of them, but I just feel like I need to comment. One of them is the traffic on the parkway as a result of the resort. And I know that's mostly the resort's responsibility, the parking situation. But what I observe is it's almost impossible to leave your house and come back. I worry more about emergency services and police officers, people that may be in need of getting home for one reason or another. When it backs all the way up to Tamarack, it's a problem. It's not like you can just go around it and pass. You can't see. Emergency vehicles would have the same problem. because of all the lovely curves that we have on our mountain. So I'd like to just see that evaluated. I don't know, at the resort, it looks like the guy stands right out at the street. Is there some way that they can get back up and inside and let a lot of that traffic flow in? I know they're down here for the overflow, but there's not much to do at overflow until that's full. So I just am asking if that can be looked at from the town's point of view, and maybe certainly in cooperation with the resort, coming up with some way to help manage that so it's a little easier to get around. It's also kind of hard when you live here on the mountain and you'd like to go somewhere else and you can't. So just offering that. Second thing is the budget meetings we have coming up, or the retreat meetings that you have coming up. I know they're on the calendar. I'm not familiar. I have not been involved as much as I'd like to be, so I'm just trying to get a little information. Will we get agendas the same way we get them for these meetings? What time of day are they? Where are they located? How will we know what we're going to talk about so that we can be prepared as residents and community members to offer any input that we may have? That's all I have for you today. I appreciate all you do. I appreciate all your hard work, and I know we've had some trials and tribulations, but I'm looking forward to 2023 being a better year. Thank you.
All right, I need a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, old business 7-1. The board and committees vacant applications, appointments. We'll start with the planning board.
I'd like to nominate Dean Roberts for the planning board.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
And second, I'd like to nominate Leslie Johnson to the planning board.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. TDA?
I would like to nominate Kendall Cox to TDA.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 My second nomination is Jana Greer to TDA.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
My third nomination is Ben Swadley to TDA.
All in favor?
Aye. I'd like to nominate Jana Greer to vice chair nomination to TDA.
All in favor?
Aye.
And finish up with Ben Swadley to chair nomination to TDA.
All in favor?
Aye.
Recreation Committee?
Yes, sir. I nominate Rory Ellington.
All in favor?
Aye.
I nominate Sherry Roberts.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I nominate Michael Herman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the tree board, Tony Hunter. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Lear Powell? All in favor?
Aye.
And the Board of Adjustments, a re-nomination of Judy Elliott. All in favor?
Aye.
And those are the nominations. And all your appointments. Thank you. The new business is, I need a fee schedule amendment. Any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question.
It's 8-1.
Correct. Give me 1 second.
Page 42.
42?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So some of the fees have been increased and some haven't changed. And I didn't really go over any specific fee, but how do you determine which ones that we make an adjustment to and those that we don't?
Well, the only ones that we're asking adjustment to are highlighted in your fee adjustment schedule. We're deleting, or asking permission to delete residential driveway permits and non-residential driveway permits, and replacing those with a culvert-only permit. and driveway alterations to an existing and driveway new. The issue there, Councilman, is that we're running into culvert replacements, as we talked about last month, and we were using a driveway permit fee, which was inappropriate, so we wanted to add a culvert. And then on the driveways, we wanted to eliminate the commercial driveway. The inspection costs are the same as for a private single-family driveway, and we wanted to increase those fees to more be in line with our inspection fee schedule, where we send an inspector out. We do the permit in-house and then send an inspector out, so that's how we determine that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Need a motion to approve the
So moved.
fees? All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Okay, Bob? Town manager's report?
Could you call a vote on that, Mayor? Because we're gonna raise the fees.
I did, I thought I did.
Oh, I'm
All in
sorry.
favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry.
Play back the tape.
I was writing. Mayor and council, a number of issues to bring you up to date. Lake Coffee update, we do have good news. Couple items, the state DEQ issued finally permittable design criteria. That's criteria for the reservoir that they are willing to permit. We took that criteria to the engineer. He plotted it in the model that he's put together, and it is doable. So that's a major milestone. We have permittable criteria from the state, and the engineer is proceeding along those lines. We met with Mr. Costin from the resort. The mayor attended that meeting. We had our attorney as well as the resort's attorney. It was a very productive meeting. We were down to one issue. The issue is the resort's ability to have a baseline water supply as they have today in Lake Santis. And they want to be assured that over the 99-year lease that they'll have access to that quantity of water. So, of course, from my perspective and Mr. Costin's perspective, we shook hands and agreed. Turned it over to the attorneys and the engineers to describe that in a legal document and make that happen. So I believe that's also good news. We have a viable project. Other good news on the same issue, state grant funding. As I reported to you last month, we put forward a $14 million grant through the state COVID funds. That project has been elevated at the state level and now submitted to FEMA in Atlanta. The benefit here over the BRIC grant that we got turned down for last year is this is not in competition nationally. It's simply a state grant. It's a 90-10 match, which is a $12,300,000 payment to the town for this project. And it also includes a $700,000 grant for administration. So we're very happy that this is moving forward, and that hopefully will be fruitful. And last but not least, Haggerty Consulting, which you approved us to enter a contract with them last month. We have done that. We have a kickoff meeting tomorrow. We'll go through with our engineer and Haggerty team, and we'll go through that as we look for additional funding. We're not only looking for 100% funding for Lake Coffee, which should be about $15 million, but we also are looking to funding for additional infrastructure grants. And those would be 100% funding to the town. Our wells, the one well that you've approved construction on Pinnacle Ridge, the notice to proceed has not been issued. Still waiting on the contractor to provide documentation and a bid bond on the bid. And then the engineer and the town will issue a notice to proceed. So I expect that to happen quickly, but it's been dragging on. We do have it permitted by the state. The Locust Ridge well site is not going to be viable, so we're going to cap that well. And we're still seeking other locations, but as I've told you over the last year, we have 3 failures and 1 well that we can build out. So we're checking that box, and we're searching everywhere for water, but it doesn't appear that wells are going to be the solution. They're going to be part of the solution when we get the Pinnacle Ridge well site put together.
When the town digs for a well, do you have to submit a bid for that for each well?
Yes, yes. It not only has to be located per state guidelines, we have to get a state permit, we have to go to bid, you have to approve the bid, we have to dig the well and see what we find. And 3 out of 4 have been failures.
How much money do we have invested?
A well site, it runs anywhere from 50 to 250,000 depending on the access. If we have to build a road, as we did down in Locust Ridge. And that's just to get the rigs in and dig the well and do a test well. The Pinnacle Ridge well site will be $500,000 to build out and before we put water into the system.
So if, it's a lot of money, depending on where the town and the resort is with the Lake Coffee project, would it warrant maybe putting this on the back burner for a little while or continue with this project?
That's what I was thinking.
I'm not sure what you're asking me. Wells?
Yes, sir.
Well, we're to the point where we have been unsuccessful 3 times, and that was, as I told you, that was at our planning retreat, that was going to be the demarcation line. We really don't have another site to look at. We're going to build out the Pinnacle Ridge. We'll continue looking, but at $15 million in comparison to build Lake Coffee, we had agreed that we needed to search for groundwater where it was feasible. And we've done that and been successful 1 time. So right now we don't have plans to move forward unless we can find a feasible well site.
Okay.
There are some sites that are available that we would look at, but that'll have to come back to council. Ski Loft Road, we met with the potential contractors for viability of the project and the timeline of 180 days. That was a very fruitful meeting. They believe that it's doable. That if it's managed in the right way, as we discussed, where one contractor does all the work for all the utilities, electric, our utility, water, sewer, and cable, that it can be done. So that was positive. Legal is developing our construction access easements for the individual property owners. We'll schedule a public neighborhood meeting in February. And construction right now is targeted for April 1st of 2024. Final design is underway and expect to bid the project in April of 23. You may recall we have that funded through a grant of $4 million. And the issue is that grant has a timeline for completing the project, and that will be the determining factor on timing with this project. The Town Hall Visitor Center project, it's on hold. I told you last month that TDA had some issues with that. They have not met. They meet tomorrow. So I don't have a recommendation for you. I'll attend their meeting tomorrow and expect to have a discussion on that next month, February. Our wayfinding signs were delivered. Thank you, Town Attorney. Expect to begin installation in early spring. I saw one of them today, very attractive, large. Should be able to find your way once we get those up. The Christmas parade we held on the 22nd of December. It was a great success. We had a terrific weather window. If you recall, right after the parade, it got really cold. But we had said, you know, snow or shine, we were going to hold the parade, and we did. Thanks to Parks and Rec and the TDA for a great event, and all the volunteers who came to Town Hall and turned it into Santa's Workshop. We're still cleaning up the glitter, but it was a great event. If you take a look at your packet, there's a link to a Avery Journal article back in the TDA report that gives a recap of the parade. So we got some very good press on that as well. I've made some changes at the Visitor Center I wanted to report to you. I had sent you an email and I just wanted to report to you in public. I've reassigned Kate Gravanis to several marketing and public relation campaigns. She's going to work exclusively on the Ski Loft Road PR with those 34 residents that we need to keep informed and get their consent to work on that project. She's also working on a Parks and Recreation marketing and revenue enhancement campaign, as I iterated in my email to you. We want to increase our revenue at Parks and Rec, and we want to reach out to all the new property owners that have come on board in our town in the last year to 18 months and try and get them in for family memberships. Kate's going to work on the Lake Coffee, particularly if we have to go through a general obligation bond, which we'll discuss next month. That will require some public education and continue with marketing and economic development. So that leaves the visitor center. I've moved Armando Garcia to the marketing and tourism director. He'll be operating the visitor center. He will be the staff to the TDA, and he will continue to handle our marketing activities to the town. If you could take a look at your agenda and turn to page 46. I just want to go over a few things with you. You'll notice this is our financial report. Our benchmark in this report is through November 30th. We're at 41.67 of the year, and all of our expenditures are at 38.66. So I wanted to make sure that you knew that the revenues were exceeding our expenditures and we were well within the budget for this benchmark. End of December will be our 50% mark. The finance director and I reviewed those numbers today, and very, very confident that we'll meet that benchmark with no problems. If you look at page 63, solid waste, year-to-year comparison from 21-22, we have a reduction of 483 tons of solid waste for the year. And Councilman Malang, if you'll note, recycling is comparable or up in each category year to year. So I didn't know if that, we had talked about solid waste, and we've got 12 months under our belt, and we've got a decrease of 483 tons.
I did notice glass drop drastically. Is it just because people stopped recycling? Is there?
I don't have an explanation for the glass. It dropped quite a bit when everything else was up. I'm not sure what that answer is. Glass used to be required to be separated. It's no longer required to be separated. We may be commingling that and not getting a good number. I'll check on that for you, Mayor. If you turn to page 68, Parks and Rec, I want to show you a change that I've requested. The parking lot for this year has been very successful, and our Parks and Rec employees manage the paid parking. While they're doing the sledding hill, they're also doing the enforcement in the parking lot. So in their report each month, you'll see that as a separate line item as part of their revenue. So you'll be able to track how the parking lot does month over month.
I'm just a little confused with, I don't ever remember the Park and Rec losing money. Has there been a credit put in there for some reason?
On the last year's number?
Yeah.
No, that shows a year, last year at the same time. We're 1386 lower than last year.
Last year.
Correct.
Okay.
Which is one of the reasons in the council directed us to, start having the Parks and Rec department generate more revenue through user fees, and that's why we're showing you those numbers where we are.
So if that trend, hopefully that trend won't continue and we'll be in the black, but hypothetically, if it does, then will we increase fees in part of our budget process?
Yes, sir. That will be a discussion that the council will have to take. We'll bring some recommendations to you. If you notice, and we talked about this a little bit, the family memberships have dropped. We believe it's because a lot of the families have sold and moved, and we haven't adequately marketed to the new homeowners. So that's the program we have underway. And we'll hopefully bring that, we will. I mean, for every membership we bring in, that will increase our revenue.
With the realtors on Beach Mountain, they're a valuable resource of information. Do they promote and I would assume they would, but sometimes that gets you in trouble. They're going to promote the club, they're going to promote the Buckeye Rec Center and the lake. You think that the realtors do a balanced job of promoting the entire mountain?
Oh, I couldn't tell you.
I mean, this question's kind of subjective. I hope
Yeah.
that in the informational packet that they would. Maybe
Well,
that's something that we could ask.
I don't know, but what I've asked the visitor center to do is put together a new homeowner welcome packet.
Mhm.
And Parks and Rec needs to be the front page or on top of the brochure or whatever. I'm not sure that all the realtors market everything the town has. I'm sure some do. I mean, that's good for sales, but I really don't know.
Do you think that the town could provide some informational packets to the realtors? for
Well,
them to-
that's what I was discussing. I asked the visitor center to put that together. Not only to hand out at the visitor center, but to give to the realtors.
Yeah.
In where I came from, it was called Welcome Wagon, and get that out.
Okay.
In 2023, we're going to have a municipal election, which has a little bit of twist to it. I need to tell you about it a little bit. We've reached out to both Avery County and Watauga Board of Elections, as well as the state, and notified them that we have a vacancy in the council, and asked for direction on how those elections would run. In the elections, there will be two contests in November of '23. There'll be the regular contest where it'll be a vote for three, with the top two candidates winning a 4-year term and the third winning a 2-year term. That's normal election. There'll be a second contest to fill an unexpired term. That'll be a vote for one, with winner earning a 2-year term, which will be the expired remaining term of Ms. Gagne. The caveat will be candidates will be required to select which contest when they register to run for election. So it's time to get that out to everybody who's interested and to the council, that's how the election will be run in November of '23 for the positions on the town council.
So if there's any confusion with how this process is going to work, do you think prior to November that the county can provide a sample ballot and further explain it,
Well,
if that's
that's
necessary?
That's the Board of Elections, I doubt that they'll be doing that.
The county board of elections will require folks, and they'll inform folks who go to register that there are two options that they can pick between. Once registration closes, they will prepare a sample ballot, but that sample ballot's only after filing is closed.
And that's
Yeah.
July 17th, July 15th, June?
I should know that, but I don't know
July.
off the top of my
I
head.
think it's July.
Mid-July.
So we should probably talk about this as we go forward throughout the spring, so that people know that there'll be two contests: the normal vote for three, one contest vote for an expired term, and they'll have to declare when they register which contest they want to enter. Last thing I've got is budget retreat is scheduled for January 25th at Town Hall. It's at 8:30. Chris May will facilitate again as last year. It was requested that we staff and broadcast that, so we will. We'll have lunch here for council, and we anticipate to be completed in one day. Council can extend, obviously, you can do anything you want, but that's so far what our plans are. Mayor and council, that's my report.
Is there any agenda being posted or?
Well, as a retreat, we'll use the same agenda we used as last year, but basically this is where your brainstorming session will be facilitated, and what we'd like to do is come up with 5 priorities of the town council, and you give staff direction on how to prepare a draft budget and start the process.
Okay. Council comments, Mr. Accardi?
No, sir.
You don't wanna sell pizza today?
It's free, right?
Kelly?
Based on one of the first comments, I have just one question, well, two questions. This sign at the top when the resort parking lot is sold out, is that still operational to let people know to go immediately to overflow parking versus?
Yes, ma'am. We used that last weekend, and we use it again this weekend.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was still working.
Yes, ma'am.
And then the other question I got was, the sledding hill. I know there was an injury on the sledding hill. Is that like a public beach where it's right at your own risk?
It is.
Or, okay, so people know when they go up to that sledding hill, there's no waivers, they're just having fun?
It's posted.
Okay,
It's posted to that effect. Whether they know that or not, I'm not sure, but it's posted and it's sled at your own risk.
okay. And then, when I went up to the convenience center, there was a sign up that said there were new hours. Was that just due to staff during that week, or have we moved beyond just Wednesdays, the convenience center being closed?
No, we have not. We posted the holiday hours when we were closing in our sanitation schedule, trying to get as much information out to the public as possible. Every time we have a holiday, particularly a long holiday like Christmas, followed closely by New Year's, we have a lot of comments that we didn't get the information out to them. So that was just a posting for those holiday hours. We're open 6 days a week.
Okay, great. And recycling looks great, and I think everybody did a wonderful job over the holidays. Organized and efficient.
Thank you.
That's it for me.
Bob, what were those hours posted about the convenience center during the holidays?
At the convenience center and online.
I'd just like to mention that they are posted online again for next week for the holiday coming up.
Mr. Abernathy?
Martin Luther King holiday is Monday.
Mr. Abernathy, go ahead.
Last month, we discussed resolution 7.1, the resolution to request local control of the design of residential structures. And I voted in favor that we do this, and I'd like to possibly revisit this. I know there was some concerns about the color of people's doors and being green, orange, et cetera. But the way I looked at this was, there's a home up here that is a metal building. And I think that we need to protect the assets of our land up here and the assets of our neighbor's property. And I assume, Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, I assume the way that they were able to get away with having a metal building as a residential structure is they put windows in it. And I don't know what classifies what you can have as a house, but I don't know. I think we need to revisit this, the resolution to request local control of the design of residential structures, and I used the metal building as an example. Page 40, you may not know this, Chief, it's kind of off-the-cuff question. On page 46 of 77, with the revenue summary, current period, we're at 2.299 million. Do you know what that number was, same period last year?
I don't. I can get that for you real quick.
That's okay. I was just curious.
We collect taxes in November. This is through November 30th.
Yes,
so
sir.
we start collecting taxes in November, and December is a very heavy month. So I can get that number quickly.
Just if you want to email it or whatever, I'll get it from you tomorrow. I was just curious how much growth there's been since last November, from a revenue standpoint, last year versus this year.
I can get you that number. I don't know that will tell you what you want to do.
It's not going to tell me anything. I'm just curious the
Okay.
difference in
All right.
the difference of, or what that number is.
Okay.
So, because I know that, I mean, some people can pay their taxes in November, some may pay in December. I know that number's gonna fluctuate. I'm just curious what that number is.
Okay.
Also, I noticed over the holidays that around some of the commercial bins, the trash dumpsters, that there was there was a lot of trash that was put around the bins. I don't know if the bins were locked or if the bins, well, I know the bins were locked, but I don't know if the bins were full. I had a few people say something to me about it, and I mean, I recognize it as well. And are the commercial condo associations, are they fined for this, or how's this brought to their attention?
Code enforcement, or we get a complaint, they can be fined for it. Not sure which one you're talking about, but typically if the garbage is in front of the container on the ground, the truck won't pick it up, and that prompts the owner of the facility to throw the garbage in the can. If the town finds it, or it's reported to us, we'll send a code enforcement officer out. It has to be cleaned up immediately, or we call it a bear fine. It's not really a bear fine, but in your schedule you won't see anything that says bear fine, but it's a sanitation fee fine for having garbage outside the dumpster.
You know, the town, from where we were a few years ago and where we are today, the town's done a 180 in the appearance of our town and cleaning up the trash and the bear hits. We have very minimal bear hits compared to what we did a few years ago. And I think if this is an ongoing problem, I mean, it's an eyesore, and they need to be required to either have during holiday, I mean, I don't know if if the trash came from visitors that weren't staying there, or if it came from the condos being 100% at capacity. And if so, then they need to have either another dumpster or a special pickup. It's a bad luck. Also, on the dumpsters, there's no placards. And I think that if you have someone that is illegally dumping trash at someone else's property, there needs to be a placard, whether we can enforce it or not, but we ought to have a placard stating that, you know, this is illegal, or whatever the legal terminology needs to be. And it doesn't need to be a little 4x4. It needs to be something that's, 4 inches by 4 inches. It needs to be something that's very visible.
Those are available, and some dumpsters have that, or signage. Do you want to tell me which one you're talking about?
No, sir.
Well, there is one that's in violation and under code enforcement, and they have both of these problems. They do not have an enclosure.
Okay.
So if there's an enclosure that hides the garbage that either is outside the bin or gets thrown over the enclosure, they're currently in violation and being fined if that's the case. If it's a facility with an enclosure, do you want signage on the outside of the enclosure that looks ugly and says don't put your garbage in?
The ones I'm referencing don't have any enclosure.
Ah.
We can discuss it later.
Well, I know who it is.
You went over the process with the open seat. I was going to ask you about that. And then to all the ones that have applied for a position on a board, thank you for your interest in Beach Mountain. Mark, thank you. Everyone else. And if you didn't get nominated for a board, I encourage you to stay involved in the mountain, because I think that as time moves on, there's going to be more seats that come available. There's going to be more things that can be done, and we need fresh ideas and new opinions. Would you like for me to be done, or you need to keep on?
Keep on going if you wish.
I'm finished.
We've got 15 more minutes to go.
So, thank you for those that are attending.
I really don't have much. Again, it was the Republicans that didn't come up because of the holiday? Or was it because of the roads
What was the weather?
or weather?
Yes, sir. They came the next day after the weather cleared. And we actually, the town was asked to facilitate getting some access to dumpsters for that truck, and I approved that so that we could get the trash off the mountain after the holiday.
That's a good compromise.
Well, yeah, it's, I felt it was important to get the trash emptied so we could scrape a little and salt a little.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess the good part is I talked to Daniel and nobody left any garbage in front of the gate. So that was a good part. So people are listening, that's a plus. Yeah, they'll all listed in yours. And I agree with Mr. Abernathy, we appreciate all the applicants for the different boards. And we've incorporated some new people with some new ideas. And there will be more positions opening up in the next year. And we certainly will be looking at the applications that we have. And we'll be looking at new applications, so please stay informed with us. And I need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
Don't leave, I'll get you that number.